Alright, so I found this free font Junrise, and this is where I get it from, Behance. I'm skipping down to the thing. You can see it's free for commercial and personal use, because I'm going to put together a dice set with it. There's also the same font placed here on Font Swan? I'm not too sure. Probably Font Swan. So free for commercial again, and here Junrise, which Duff Font is the place I tend to go to for stuff, but making sure that it is actually appropriately free and stuff. And yeah, now on with the rest of it. Okay, so here's my set of Dice Masters, and I want to update them with a new font. Now, I've tried to make this process as easy as possible, so I'm just going to select one of these characters, and I'm going to go to the font selection, and then I'm going to scroll down and select an appropriate font. Now, no Junrise in here. This is annoying because I thought I installed the font, but I'll go to where I put it. There, open font. It's only done one of the characters. I'm kind of lazy, I want to do the whole lot, and I don't really want to worry about changing each and every one as I've just done. So I'm going to go to select all by type, and that's now selected all the characters. Then down to object, link transfer data, and font to text, and that updates all the fonts. Now you can see that they're all different sizes, they're all over the place, and we need to tidy this up. Excuse me. So initially I'm just going to start with the four-sided dice because it's the easiest, and I'm going to open up all of these things here, which is a click and hold. Did I activate screencast keys? No, I did not. Alright, cool, fix that, and to get rid of that because I don't need this at all. So I'm just going to focus on the four-sided dice, but in the outliner I'm going to select the first of the text characters and then hold down shift and select the last of the text characters. This allows me to modify them all at the same time. I like this idea. I like being lazy. So first up, I need to adjust the size so that I don't clip the edges, and I also need to adjust what's called the Y offset. So holding down the Alt key, I'm just going to drag this and slide it across, probably to about 6, I think. 6, 5.5, doesn't matter. These are basically what's carving the hole into the surface, so that looks pretty good. I might look on this side because this gives me a better view of what I'm looking at. And so I want to make sure it doesn't touch that edge. So these bevel lines are really just markers for the bevel version of the font. And I might also adjust the Y offset. So again, holding down Alt, I'm just going to pull that down a little bit so that it doesn't get too far to up. So the Y offset down here, the size, and there's one other feature that I end up modifying every so often, which is the character spacing or the line spacing, and I'll explain those when I get to them. So I'm pretty happy with that one at this second, so I'm going to go done. Now for the six-sided dice, and this is where I'm just going to skip on because it's basically the same stuff again. Firstly, Alt to adjust the size, probably down to 10 or an 11. Let's go with an 11. And then the Y offset to center it a little bit more, and that's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that. Move on to the next one. Things don't get, sorry if you can hear the crashing in the background, that's my cat. Yeah, anyhow, drop the size a little bit. Now in this case you can see the 7 is going to be a problem because it clips those two top edges, but if we just drop that down to about an 8, it still might do it, and it looks like it does, but if we drop the Y offset down a little bit, that then pulls it away from that edge, and looking at the others, that all looks pretty good. Alright, so we'll call that one done. Now this is the one I actually wanted to get to, at least I think it was. Yes, because it has the underlines here on the 6 and the 9 to differentiate the two numbers. So this sort of limits some of the things that we can do with it. So first up, as before with all the others, pull down the size just a little bit. So let's go 7.5. 7.5 should do. Now double checking that it doesn't clip, and see here it does a little bit, so we might have to drop that down, but this is going to cause a problem. So because if we're adjusting them all as a set, and I push that too low like this, you can see here it cuts the bottom, and that's going to cause us problems. But with the size adjustment, and that misses there, that misses there, So that should be pretty good. Now, yeah, one of the things I can do is I can do this. Now you can see I've just changed the line spacing, which is the spacing between one line of text and the next line of text. But here they touch. I don't want that. So normally I set it at 0.1. Sometimes you have to push it a little lower or even a lot higher. So now onto the 12-sided dice, because these are all done in numerical order. And this brings us to the second problem that we will encounter, but I'll get to that in just a sec. So I'm going to adjust the 12 probably down to about 7.5. Okay, I can't get the exact number, so I'm going to type in 7.5, but this time, before I hit enter, I'm going to do Alt, then enter. That applies it to the whole lot. And you can sort of see that. See, oh, it should apply it to the whole lot, and it hasn't. Wonderful. That says 7.5. Alright, well, this one. Why are some of those playing up? No, they're all correct. Okay, I must have just hallucinated spontaneously. Anyhow, getting onto this. So we need to adjust the thing because it's clipping at the top here, and you can see that on the 7. It's just there and there. So we'll just pull it down a little bit. Now that will be reasonably okay. Now we're going to run into a problem. Oh, see the 12. 12 because it's bigger, it's got more spacing, it's going to clip on that edge. But we can't pull it down so far because then it'll start clipping on that bottom edge. Bit of a problem. So I'm going to push it up just a little bit so I'm happy with its rough position. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the character spacing. Just pull it in, oops, not out, in. So adjust that one and then maybe that a little lower. And what I'm trying to do is put them together so they sit inside the edge here. Now what you'll notice is the 12 and the 10 are okay, but the 11 looks a little cramped if I can find it. So you can see here they're kind of crushed. So I'm just going to go and individually modify that one back out. So that it, the 12 can be like that, 11 is spaced, and then the 10, wherever the hell I've put it, there, that looks okay as well. Now if it's in the 10 case, the 10, I've got plenty of space on this side but not on this side. I can individually grab the 10 and push it a little sideways with the X offset. Now I'm reasonably happy with that, so onto the D20. The D20 usually produces the most headaches because you can see the 20 sitting here way too big and also sticking way over the edge. So grabbing the Alt key, I'm going to slide this down to about 4 I reckon, or maybe 4.2, yeah. And then I want to move all those down a bit, so this is again the Y offset, pull them down a little. Double checking the 9 and the 6 because they have underlines and that may be a problem, although from memory that's 1.2 and this, oh, it's also 1.2, great. Anyhow, back to the whole set. Alright, and I'm still clipping here on the 20. Now I could try the, oops, wrong way. Pull the two numbers together and a little bit of an offset jiggle to pull it into one side. I can't quite tell if that's, no, gone the wrong way. That seems pretty good. All the numbers seem like they're okay. Double check the 11 because that's always a bit of a concern, so push that back up to what it is, and that I think I'm reasonably happy with. And all I'm doing is just visually going through and double checking every single face. And the reason I have them stick out so much is because they're flush with the surface, as I did in an earlier video. They are easier to work this way and you can see what's going on. So back up to the sizing, drop the sizing as usual. Let's Alt click in there and go 5.5. Alt enter, so that should do all the sizings. And then character spacing, let's pull that back down to 2 digits because that should be fine. Now here with a 70, you can see it clips on that edge, but I've got a reasonable amount of space underneath, so if I drop the Y offset, that should do that, and also push it that way a little. Now the 00 will not be evenly spaced, but if we push that back to 0 on the X, that should be precisely centered on that face. And the rest of it, I suspect, should be pretty good. So middle mouse button just rolling about to check it. So yeah, that's all done. I've checked it. I'm happy with the dice layouts and where the numbers are situated. Now for the super lazy bit, I run the script. What that will do is it will generate a folder, and I'll just go grab the folder and drop it in here, and you can see it all generate. And what it does is it generates a sharp version of said dice and a beveled edged version of said dice, and goes through one by one and makes the whole lot. So I'm just going to let this run for a sec. What I've done for the next stage, after they've generated all this, is I've actually set them up so that when you drag and drop them straight into Tutobox or whatever your supporting thing program of choice is, they are orientated so it's easier to support. And that's sort of been my biggest challenge, is getting stuff to support appropriately. Although the six-sided ones, I tried a different angle and it didn't quite work right, and I got a bit of distortion and twisting on just this one straight edge at the bottom. This seems to work. So yeah, it's been a fun project. Excuse me while I enjoy my cup of tea. So yeah, running its updates. Come on, do your thing. Yeah. And then we'll do a beveled D100, and we are hopefully done. Doesn't look beveled yet, that's because it's mostly just a straight up copy, but it then tweaks it and changes it there. So supporting will come in a little later, but yeah, I've got this up on, well, it'll be up on my Patreon, but I'll also have it out for sale shortly. It's because it's still in the testing phase, I really don't feel like selling it just yet. But it is a thing. Anyhow, I'm done. Enjoy the rest of your day.